Portrait lenses, one of the holy grails for photographers. Get a great portrait lens and you'll be able to capture the very best portraits. So it's all down to the right portrait lens, am I right? No, I'm wrong. Portrait lenses attract photographers like bees around a honeypot. Now, the Canon 85mm 1.2 is legendary for portraits, isn't it? No, hang on a minute, what about the Sigma 1.4 or the Tamron 1.8? Oh, come on, you can't talk portrait lenses without mentioning the Zeiss T-Star 55mm 1.4. 55mm? I thought we were talking about portrait lenses, not fish eyes. Photography enthusiasts salivate, don't they, over this kind of technology. And they like nothing better than spending hours extracting data to decide which is the best and continuing the infinite debate about which is the very best focal length for portraits. 55mm, surely. 85. Actually, I thought was had good results with the 135. Well, I do have a favourite portrait lens in my kit, and I've shot portraits of prime ministers and sports stars, celebrities, even royals with that lens. Let me show you which one it is. You may be surprised. Here you go. It's my 24-70 usually at the 24mm end for portraits, but sometimes I do go as far as 35mm. What? Portraits at 24mm? Are you mad? What about the bokeh? How do you get differential focus? And what about the distortion? Okay, let's delve into this and let's see why I think a wide angle is a great lens for portraits. The first thing I think we need to do is quantify what exactly is a portrait. I know that it might seem obvious, but for different people, portrait means different things. It's from the verb portray, and the dictionary tells us that that means to depict a person in a work of art. So we want to portray this person who's standing in front of us in our work of art. We want to create an image that viewers who've never even met them will make a connection with, and hopefully one that will allow them to understand more about the person. We want to convey them through the photograph, don't we? We like to tell their story. We like people to know something about them. So how exactly are we going to do that with an image like this? It's the image a lot of people, in fact probably the majority of people, would tell you is a portrait. But actually I'm not sure it is. What it is for sure is a great likeness. It's a headshot, and there's nothing wrong with that. It does a fantastic job of showing us what that person looks like brilliantly. Stick it on an ID badge or social media profile and everybody's going to know what that person looks like. But as for telling me something about them, well, it might as well be a photo of their cat for all the information it's giving me about them. And that's why I like to use a 24mm to do portraits, because it makes me stand back and it makes me look at the person and consider the environment they're in. Well, more than consider actually. I'd go as far as to say that that background is actually part of the portrait, because it's going to help to tell me something about the person. Obviously, I don't use the 24mm for portraits in the same way that people would traditionally shoot headshots with an 85mm or a 105mm. It would be a hideously distorted shot, not to mention unflattering. But by standing back and utilising the environment and the lighting that gives me, I can start building an image in my mind about what makes that person tick. By looking at the portrait holistically, taking it all in, feeling the image. So let's have a look at a so-called portrait taken on a 105 lens and see what it tells us about the person. Not much really. No, let's look at a portrait taken on a 24mm lens. Now, for me, you can keep your marketing hype about the 85s and the 105 portrait lenses that we all apparently need. I'm going to stick with my 24. Why don't you give it a go next time you go out to shoot a portrait? Why don't you look at the bigger picture, portrait in its wider sense? You never know. you might be surprised with the results. Now, I say judge me by my photography and not my words, so here are a couple of portraits that I've taken, and I hope they can tell you something about the person in the photographs. It's fair to say that we don't always need to believe the next great bit of kit is everything you need. Remember, manufacturers do make great new tech all the time. Breakthroughs, they're pushing boundaries every day, every year. But it's also in their interest to persuade you that you can't do without their latest offering. Actually, the genius landscape photographer Ansel Adams had got a lot to say about new kit. And if you'd like to hear what he considered the best single piece of advice to a photographer, click here and watch his video.